Hello, hello, and welcome. So today I'm coming to you with the bonus class for September, which we are using the Etched Autumn stamp set. I love this stamp set. It's a big, bold one. It's nice. It was great to do some of my favorite things, blending brushes, emboss resist. Let's see, a couple cards you're going to stamp on some of the B-sides of the designer series paper in the pack you're getting. So yeah, I think there's a lot of potential for this. And I see this as one of those that, yes, I know we scream fall because of the leaves and we're coming into fall, but this easily could be done with like spring colors when everything's just coming into bloom and stuff too. So keep that in mind with something like this. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, for all of mine, I use the glass mat as my block when it's a big bold stamp like this, because I think it works really well. It stays in place. I don't have to lift it up and down. So I'm going to be using the glass mat. The one card that we are embossing on, I've already pre-embossed, but I will show it to you. Oh, shoot. Well, I am pre-embossed, and then I got a phone call in between, and I had one spot I didn't hit, so I'll have to still hit that spot, but I will do that when we get to that project. We are using quite a few different color inks. Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon, Crushed Curry, Cajun Craze, Blackberry Bliss, Early Espresso, and Mossy Meadow. And I think I got them all. We're going to be using some blending brushes, some daubers, a blender pen. We're kind of using a whole bunch of different stuff. I have the directions pulled up just in case, and then also so I can kind of keep track of color combinations that I used. Here is our first card. So we're going to do some blending with Pretty Peacock. Now, yeah, Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon, Crushed Curry, Cajun Craze, and lightly with the Blackberry Bliss, but then we're going to stamp with Blackberry Bliss. That's what color I stamped with on here. So, and then I went around the edges of the greeting too. So let's go ahead and get our packet out. And I've already pre-stamped all my greetings. I kind of was trying to get some things done just so that you're not watching me do things that you all know how to do. And in your packet, you should have, because each one has a little bit different bling that I found. Mine has the envelope in it too. And then, of course, you have 2 pieces of basic white that are exactly the same. I cut them bigger so that you could trim a piece off for the inside strip. So, and you'll see that in the directions too, how I did that. Okay, so for right this second, I'm going to lift that up because first we're going to do some blending with all these colors. So I'm going to kind of move this out of the way. I want to keep that there because when we get out that Blackberry Bliss, we're going to use some of that too. So you might not see all these colors on camera because I don't really have room for all of them, but I'll try and bring them in as I'm using them. And I'm going to kind of keep them off over here to the side. I think you can see some of it, but, and let's see. So Pretty Peacock, Lost Lagoon, here's that one, and that one goes there. Now, I always start with the lightest color. It doesn't really matter. Let's get that other white out of the way. And remember, you always want to start off the edge of your paper, and I have the glass mat, so I'm using that kind of as my palette there. And then I'll just clean it up when we're done. And I'm not a heavy, I call it a heavy-handed. I'm not a heavy-handed blender. I know some people are, and I think theirs look so bold and dramatic, and then mine are always so light. But for whatever reason, I just can't seem to get that pressure there. I have to just go over it and over it and over it. Now I'm going to bring in, so the first color was Crushed Curry. Now I'm going to bring in the Cajun Craze. And I'm not doing this any particular way. I'm just kind of blending along and adding ink. And you can always go back and add more when you're done. So here's our Lost Lagoon. Let's get a little bit more of that over here. Okay, there's Lost Lagoon. Now, Pretty Peacock, I'm going to be very careful with because it is a little bit darker. So we don't want it to like take over So I'm going to kind of go off the edge. And it is very similar when you're blending like this to Lost Lagoon, except it is darker. Always got to keep that in mind. Okay, there's that one. And then the Blackberry Bliss, we're going to add some of that. And I know right now you're kind of looking at it like, this isn't looking the greatest, Debbie. What are you doing here? But once you stamp on it, it's going to make all the difference in the world. I mean, it just changes it so quickly. Now, I'm not really sure I like one thing, and that's that Cajun Craze just kind of going straight down the middle. So I'm going to see if I can add just a little more. There we go. There. I know right now it doesn't look the greatest. And then real quick, I am just taking a paper towel. Now, if you want all of this gone, use your chamois, which I will bring it in eventually here so that it doesn't get on our card base. But first, I'm just wiping off most of it with a paper towel. Okay, there's that. Now, let's bring our stamp back in, because then we're going to move our stamp. We're going to set it down right here. And I'm using the grid lines on here to make sure it's straight. One thing I'm going to do really quick is, just so you can see this, I'll do it right here. I didn't even re-ink it. I'm just kind of using what's on the brush and just going around the edges with the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so then you kind of just softens that a little bit. All right, now what we're going to do is ink this up. And then what I like to do is just lay this down. And once you commit, leave it. Don't try to pick it up and move it, because you won't like the results when you do that. And then you can either use your hand. I hold it in place. I use a block. It's something we all have. It's right here. It's handy. Now I just moved it. So actually, I hope just the top paper moved, but I felt it move. So I'm going to kind of quit and then pop it up. I think it was just my top piece. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh. It looks so good. And look how different it looks from this one. I love it. Okay, let's, sometimes I'm even amazed at how something turns out, because you just never know. But I'm sure you were thinking, oh, Debbie, that doesn't look the greatest. Just got a bunch of ink on the paper. But it looks awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pick this up because I want to, and actually I'm going to close up my ink pads because I don't want, even though we're going to be getting some of them back out, I just don't want to drop something on them, because I have been known to do that, and you don't want to do that. Okay. Now we're just going to trim a little, and then we're going to do some assembly. So we want this to be 3 3/4 this way, and then 3 3/4 by 5. So we're going to cut off of this way at the 3 3/4 so that we have a long strip right here to put for the inside. And then we'll trim this down to 5. Now I could originally cut it at the 5 because we don't really want this strip. It's too short, but it's just easier to trim it as we go. All right, now let me bring the card back in. Our parts and pieces here. That's our inside. So let's just go ahead and put that strip on. Okay. And just putting this along the edge there. Okay, we got that down. And then this is going to go on top of our layering piece. And these are from the Traditional Labels dies. I love these dies. I think they're great. The Grateful for You is from the Gathering Moments bundle. which is what we used to do the holiday kickoff class a few weeks ago. And that's a great bundle to work with. All right, so we're just layering this up. This goes on here. And then this is going to go on top of our card base. Like I said, easy peasy. Every one of them that you're going to make today, you're just going to have a little bit different effect of how you use this stamp set. It's great. Okay. Then we are just attaching that to the inside. And I use my fingernail a lot, and then I'm just going to attach a little bit of adhesive here. And somewhere it looks like I lost my bling. I knew I would. Oh, there it is. Whew. I mean, I knew I had it sitting there, but see, I'm just as bad as everybody else. I can lose my bling too. I kind of want those a little bit smaller. So let's just do 3 fingers. I was rolling up ribbon the other day for monthly club stuff, and Drew had come in, and I'm like, I'm just trying to get this finished, you know. Oh, we were getting ready to go to Taco Tuesday. That was it. He actually helped. It was a little scary to think that, I mean, he stood there and rolled a few things of ribbon up. Wasn't difficult. But for him, it might have been. So we'll take it as a win-win, right? For those of you that don't know, Drew's my husband. But I think all of you that are doing this video, you guys all know that. Okay. I forget. This is bonus class I'm doing this video for. I've done so many videos in the last few days, I'm having a hard time keeping up. Okay. So let's put these on right here. Just going to go with it like that. And yeah, I'm going to put it right here. Just like that. And then we've got our blingity bling. Now these are from the something purple something. It's a purple pack. But I thought they went quite well. I think they're Blackberry Bliss, or some of them are. There's several different purples in that pack. So, but I thought they went quite well with this card. And there you go. There's project number 1. Isn't it pretty? Oh my gosh, so pretty. I just love it. Okay, now the second and third card, I'm not going to make them both because they are both exactly the same. You're just using pieces of designer series paper. So I'm not going to make them both on screen because you can figure it out after we do one of these. If you don't have the branching out dies, you don't have to have the branching out dies. You can use any rectangle die, oval die, whatever you have to do this shape. So keep that in mind. You don't have to have the same ones I used. I couldn't pre-cut that because you're going to cut from the designer series paper at the same time. I have pre-cut this layer on mine, but I didn't do that on yours just in case you didn't have these. Because what we're going to do is do some layering here, and then this is going to go on here, and the piece we cut out of the center here is going to go on top. It'll make sense. You'll see. So we're going to bring in our stamp. And as you can see, I did them both exactly the same, but you can do Blackberry Bliss. Or sorry, this is actually Berry Burst, and then I stamped in Blackberry Bliss, and then Mossy Meadow, and I stamped in Mossy Meadow here, because I thought that worked quite well. All right, so let's get Mossy Meadow out, and let's ink it up. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this down. And right now it's cut at 4 by 5 1/4 because we're going to do the same thing. We're going to trim it down so we have that inside piece. Okay, there's that. Lift that up. Doesn't that look so pretty? like I always say, you know, that sometimes our B-sides are great for stamping on. So I love that part of it. And it coordinates well when whatever bundle you guys vote on for monthly club has some great paper that works for that. Because then the bonus class can be used for both. And you get to use, you know, Designer Series paper out of your pack you already have. Okay, let's move this out of the way. And let's do some trimming. Again, we're going to trim. I'm going to trim first, and then I'm going to run die cut that piece. So let's go ahead and cut this down to the 3 3/4. So here's our strip for the inside. There's that by 5. And then I'm just going to run over to my die cut machine, and I'm going to cut this out really quick. I'll be right back. All right. Like I said, if you have like the stitch or the traditional labels dies, those would work for this. There's so many dies that will work if you do not have this branching out set. But I love these dies, and I like that branching out set. I haven't had a chance to play with it yet, but I have to tell you, I like what I've seen with it. So I think that's going to be a very popular one too. There's my envelope. Don't need that right now. Okay. And then, oh, this goes with the other one, I think. Okay. So what we're going to do, easy peasy. This is just so easy. But it shows you another way to use it. Come on, glue. Now, I know there's glue in here. It's a brand new bottle. I'm afraid a big old blob's going to come out here any minute now. And I'm going to have a mess, right? Okay. This is going to go on here. I'm using glue because we kind of have all those little edges and stuff. So I feel like it's a little bit easier. And I'm going to use glue here because it's just less area that we're covering. And sometimes the tape, I get a little nervous sometimes when you've got skinny spaces that could easily tear with the, if you're using like the Stampin' Seal Plus or the Stampin' Seal. Okay, there's that. Now, what we're going to do is this is going to go on here, which now I can use tape or adhesive, whatever, or glue, whatever your favorite is, because I know everybody's got their favorite. My two favorites are Stampin' Seal Plus and the glue. But I have a friend who loves to use the tear and tape. And that's okay. Like I said, everybody's got their favorite. Okay, I'm using the bigger dimensionals here because we have a bigger area to work with. So let me see. Let's put one there, there, and in the middle. And we'll go right there. And that's going to, then we're going to be cutting off the edges of the rest of that one. Okay. And then you want to make sure you're putting it, yeah, back, kind of lining it up. Not that anybody would even be able to tell with all these leaves. And that's going to go just like that. Now, I already stamped the happy birthday on your scrap piece you have in there. So what I'm going to do is trim this down, and I do not measure. And it looks like I might have stamped a little crooked, so I'm going to try and straighten it out here. At least I'm thinking it looks that way. And I'm going to go ahead and trim a little bit from here. I don't measure, and I have been doing it like this for a while now. You can, of course, die cut shapes if you want, but I like the effect this gives in doing it this way. Now, I just saw the other scissors. Well, this isn't them, but this is a pair, because I know they're on my desk. I just do the little trimming like this. I don't do them. Some people take this piece, lay it over here to get the exact same angle. I don't care. Nobody is going to be able to tell if that angle is off just that little bit. Okay, so there's that. And then you just have a tiny little piece here that you're just going to do some little loop-de-loos with. And that's pretty much all I did, just like that. And then we're going to add some minis on here. Just 1, 2. I think we'll put 4 of them on. 4 will be perfect. And then 1 on the end there. Okay. And okay. And oh shoot, I forgot to take, bummer, bummer, bummer. Where's the, I must not have got the Mossy Meadow one out. Granny Apple Green. Hang on, I'm looking for the Mossy Meadow. Here it is. I'm going to see if I can do this after I've already got dimensionals on the back, because I did kind of go around the edge a little bit. A dauber would work better now. Oh well. There. And what did we do here with our tail end? Kind of went wonkers. There we go. There. And I just put that happy birthday there. I'm going to trim this off just a little bit there. All right. And then let's flip this over and let's add this. And there we go. And that's going to go on here. And I've got sticky fingers now. Trying not to get it everywhere. There is project 2. And then let me bring in this one so you can see it again. This is project 3. So you're going to stamp in Blackberry Bliss, but you're going to do the same things as we did here. But it just gives you another color. I like it. I like how that turned out. But I don't want to waste your time stamping the same exact thing again. Okay. So this will be project 4, because this time you're getting 5, because 2 and 3 were basically the same card, just showing you different colors. So, and you got your little pack of bling in here. This is a sample one already sitting here, but I'm going to go ahead and do one today. I've already pre-stamped in Cajun Craze, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this just so I don't lose it. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're cutting, or we're stamping on a 4 by 5 1/4 sheet. We are going to use the daubers. And let me look real quick here so I pull out the right colors. Let's see. We're going to use Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry, and Pretty Peacock. Of course, you can use any color combination you want. There is not a... You know, we all know there's no right or wrong to it. And then what I'm going to do is bring in my daubers. I'm going to bring in a scrap piece just to, yep, that was that one. Just to make sure I have all the right colors here. So there's that. That's definitely Crushed Curry. This is Cajun Craze. Here, I'm going to slide these all over a little bit, and then we're going to have Blackberry Bliss, and that looks like this one right here. Yep, or it's going to work. Now, This is going to be a little bit different because we are going to we're going to ink up the stamp with the daubers. Make sure, yep, okay. I always like to make sure I'm still on camera, but I have to get pretty far down here to get off camera. Let's see, I don't really have these in order. Oh, that's okay. I'm going to start with crushed curry. And I know it's hard to see. You kind of just have to keep an eye on where you're at, especially with this color. As you put some other colors out there, you'll be able to tell a little bit better. And you're going to see that it's going to bleed over onto other ones anyway as you continue along. So then we're going to go here, and like I'm going to come down like this. Just don't use your dauber in the wrong spot. Okay, there's that one. And then we're going to do some Blackberry Bliss. And I can kind of tell where I've got ink, but it's not the easiest to see. You kind of have to watch where you're at. And you could go over the whole thing with each one and just kind of keep daubing, and then you'd have ink everywhere. It does work like that too. Like right now, I feel like I've gone over the whole thing at some point. And now I'm going to come back in and then just add some Pretty Peacock. And I think I have the stamp all inked up. I'm going to hope for the best, okay? Now, what you're going to do, you're going to see the top of my head because I'm going to huff on this a little bit. Just to moisten that ink up a little bit. And I'm going to hope for the best here. And again, let's bring in this because we really want to put some good pressure down here. Because we didn't stamp this, we used the dauber to add ink. Now you could do a blending brush too. I think actually this sample right here, I used the blending brush versus using the daubers. I think that's why I kept that piece out, now that I think about it. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Now it's much lighter this time than it was last time, but that's okay. I like the effect of it. I like what it did. I wish this was a little bit darker right in through here, but it still makes a pretty card. Now, if I wanted to, I could try it again right here. I can go back over the whole thing. I'm going to try it again. Now, here's another tip as we're going to do the second one. You could take this ink pad here. Let me show you something else that you can do that would get ink on everything. Take your lightest color. So I'm going to use the crushed curry as my lightest color. And I'm letting that dry a little bit. Ink up the whole thing with crushed curry. So only if you're watching this video do you get to see this part, because this will not be in the instructions. Then you can come add some Cajun craze around it. Anywhere you want. Okay? Because now you know the whole thing is inked up. That is another option of how to do it with the daubers. Okay, and we're getting some color everywhere, getting all the colors, and then Pretty Peacock. Now, this effect wouldn't, or this technique wouldn't necessarily work like with Petal Pink and Soft Sea Foam. I think it would end up to be way too light for what you would want. Okay, so we've got the back side here. And again, let's bring this in, pushing down, getting some pressure on here. And let's see how this one turned out. Ooh, oh my gosh, I love that. That's awesome. That's a keeper. See the difference it made? Now you could stamp in any one of those colors. You don't have to do the lightest, but if you start with a darker one, it's going to be harder for the yellow to show up. So I would definitely only start like out of these colors we have here, either with Cajun Craze or Crushed Curry, but I really recommend you start with the lightest color. And I could have gone a few more color variations, but I love how that turned out. Look at the difference. This is definitely screams fall to me, but I love it. Here was one I was trying. I don't even remember what I did here. I think I spritzed it, but I can't remember now. It's been a while since I made these. That's why I'm shocked I haven't done the video yet, but here we are. Okay, now we're going to trim. So we're going to go to that 3 3/4. So we have that strip for the inside. And then we're going to go to 5. And there's that is garbage, basically. And then we're just pretty much assemble, assemble, assemble. Yeah, that one. Oh, I love how it turned out. This is going to go on here. There's that. And then this goes on our card front. Or card base, sorry. Card front goes on the card base. Debbie, use your words. Okay. This goes on here. And then... oh, here it is. I'm like, I remembered seeing the twine. Ooh, I did that too small. So let's go like this. And yeah, there we go. And let's add some, here we're just going to add some pieces from here. Okay, and this is going to just go, I'm just going to put it right there. I mean, there's no right or wrong where you put it. It's wherever you want to put it. And then we have some of the Cajun Craze and Gold bling. And I'm just going to put a couple of these right there. And maybe one more right there. Okay. And this goes on the inside. Our little strip. Decorative piece. Oops. Okay. And that goes there. And there is project number 4. I love how that turned out. I think it turned out awesome. Okay. Project number 5. Let me bring this in. I think there's one little spot I missed with the embossing gun, but I got a phone call at the same time. And I wasn't going to be rude and turn on my embossing gun when I was on the phone. Okay, so what I did, and you guys all know how to do this, I just think I missed that spot right there. ink it up with Versamark, and then use the gold, well, they call it Wow Gold Embossing Powder now. Okay, this is what we're making. Now we're going to use a blender pen and our ink pads. Let me double check. What I think I pretty much used the same colors, but we're going to double check. Blackberry Bliss, Cajun Craze, Crushed Curry. I did bring in Lost Lagoon, Pretty Peacock. Oh, and I guess I brought in Pumpkin Pie on this one too. And then the Versamark. So we're going to use all those different colors. Now, you don't have to use them all if you don't want to, but we're going to color in those areas now. And I've already pre-stamped that and die cut it. So that's all ready to go. So let's move this aside and let's start some coloring here. And there, again, no right or wrong. You just kind of start wherever you want. Dip your blender pen in there. Now you can use the Stampin' Blends if you want, but honestly, I think you get a really nice effect using the blender pen. And I just kind of randomly, and you can see I'm not being all that careful either. I'm just kind of moving around, going wherever. Okay, then I'm going to bring in this to kind of clean it. Okay, now let's do Cajun Craze. Now this one's going to be a little bit darker. And let's just do that little one there. Let's throw one in here in the center. And who knows, I may not end up using all of these colors. You know, we may fill it up before we even get to the last color. We'll see. Okay. And let's do this one over here. Okay, there's that one. Okay, now let's do some Lost Lagoon. Let's get some lighter green in here. Don't get as sloppy as I got right there. I got a little carried away there. Okay. And then we've got this one. And let's do a little one there. Almost dipped in the wrong color. And let's see. Oh, we'll do this one. Okay, there's that. Now let's do some Blackberry Bliss. And using the blender pen, you get a little variation in color. You get some lighter, some darker, depending on how the ink is laying out there, which I'm okay with that. Now you can go back and lighten that up, the whole thing, if you want, or darken it, depending on, like, see, this one's a little bit lighter, but that's okay. I like that variation. And let's do this one. Now, right now I've been doing like 5 of each color just to give you an idea, and then I'll go back and kind of fill in where I think I might want to add. So we have one more color to go here. Oh, wait, I take that back. We have 2 more because we have pumpkin pie. So let's do... Whoops, I almost dipped that in the wrong color. That would not have been good. This is Pretty Peacock here. Let's do this big one in Pretty Peacock. Oops. Twice now. I've almost dipped it in the crushed curry. Okay, there's that. And well, let's do this one too. When I did it the first time, I think I was kind of trying to pick the same leaves to do like all in one color, but it was getting hard to do that. So I thought, you know what, that's not working. So let's not do it like that. Okay, now let's see what we got left, and we're going to do some pumpkin pie here. And then I'll go back and do a little filler with some other color. Don't know which one yet. I'll figure that out when we kind of get to a point where we can see what we've got going on and what color I might want. Two, three. Let's do. I don't know if that one was a different color at one point or not. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here, trying to decide, I'm going to take and add, this one's going to be the Blackberry Bliss. Hopefully I don't miss any, because it is hard to miss them. There's that one. And then, actually, I'll do this little leaf, or yeah, down here in Blackberry Bliss. And then it looks like I only have those two left. So let's do Cajun Craze. And I think that's it. I'd say, oh, point out and show me if I missed any, but you won't be able to do that. Which I did have somebody on a video once tell me, or she commented and said, I think you forgot to, did you mean to not color one of them? I just responded, maybe. I don't even remember what it was now. Okay, there we go. I think I got them all. Well, I see one that I think I missed, but I think I'm going to do that one right here. I think I missed that one. All right, I think I got them all. Okay, and to clean it, you saw what I was doing. Just in between each one, you just scribble on your paper and it cleans it up really easy. Okay, we are going to close these up and get them out of our way, because if I don't, we know what's going to happen. We will ruin a card. It has happened. Okay. And we're going to trim this down so we have a piece for our inside. So this is going to go to 3 3/4. And there's our strip for the inside by 5. And we don't need that piece. And then we're just going to do some assembly here. Let's bring in our parts and pieces. So let's attach this, goes to this. Whoops, not crooked, Debbie. Okay, that goes there. Let's not lose our bling. This is going to go on top of the Cajun Craze layer. Ooh, I'm getting close to an empty one again. Okay, this will go on here. And then this is going to go on here. And of course, if you wanted some more dimension, you could pop these up if you want some of these layers or any of the layers. People kind of always ask me that. Oh, did you pop that layer up? No, but you can. I usually pop up my sentiment or my greeting, whatever word you like to use for that. Okay, and then let's add a little bit of adhesive here, because this, it's kind of already folded how I want it, but I think I need it a little bit bigger. let's see, I want this one to come down here. And then let's, oh, I have a couple trimmed. There's 1, 2, 3, and 1 right there. And voila. And of course you can put this wherever you want, wherever you think like, I don't like that color as well right there, but I like them all, so I'm just going to put it right there. And let's add our blings. I added them to there, to the label here. And our inside piece, and we are going to be done with this month's bonus class. There's that. And this goes on the inside. Push that down a little bit there. And there we go. I love it. I love this effect, especially using the blender pen, because you just get a little bit different effect with all the colors. So I think that turned out great. But I have to tell you, I really love how this card turned out with the daubers. Stamp first. So I'm going to put a reminder out there that there is a trick in the video. There's our 2 and 3, 2 different color designer series paper. And then here's our ones with the blending brushes. Aren't they just all so different, but yet, oh, so pretty. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this bonus class, and I hope you make some awesome projects with it. And I will see you all again next month. Talk to you later. Bye, guys. Thank you.